Hey, YouTube, I'm back. I wanted to give as much of an update as I could on the Chaz Chop zone that's here in Seattle. In case you guys didn't hear, there was another fatal shooting yesterday. So we went there on Sunday to do a live stream of what was going on, and really there really wasn't too much going on. That whole main, I guess, drag, if you want to call it, seemed like tourists. There was people taking pictures, one or two people getting interviewed, but honestly, nothing serious seemed to be going on, and all like the major, I guess, people who were there seemed to have vacated already. Now, there were two spots that we went to that seemed to be hostile to an extent and made me and my husband pretty uncomfortable to even be there. And we kind of had our camera down most of the time, and we got a lot of dirty looks. We were followed around by one lady with a walkie who was older, who seemed to be in some kind of leadership role there. She followed us around after we had talked to one of the guards who was at one of the only barricades that was being guarded. I I don't know if we looked threatening or if she was concerned that we were shooting in a negative light. However, she did follow us around, which was very uncomfortable, and we just ended up cutting the video and leaving after that. So, in the garden area that we shot at, that area, that whole area where there were still a lot of tents at, that seemed pretty hostile, I guess, to an extent to us. A lot of people threw us dirty looks, did not want to be on camera, made a point of making sure that we did not shoot their face on camera. And then the area where the police department is, that whole area seemed pretty hostile too. And there were not any guards, I guess, in the whole area except for those two areas. That was it. All the other barricades, I feel like you could just walk in and do whatever. There was no one guarding them, no one watching them. And I mean, honestly, I feel like if the city just wanted to come in and remove those little sections where no one was at, that they probably could have. On Friday, this past Friday, the city did try to go in and dismantle Chaz, whatever. They were met with a lot of hostility from the few people that were still there. There were people who laid on the ground, refused to let them get their machinery to remove the barricades. They just laid flat on the ground. And I mean, there really were not that many people who put up a fight. However, the few people that were there were pretty serious about standing the ground. So, what is CHOP? CHOP is, that's a great question. I forgot what CHOP is. It stands for some acronym that they made up that they wanted to change their name to. It was Chaz, and that was the autonomous zone. So the A and Z stand for autonomous zone, and I forgot what the CH stood for, but basically they just made up acronyms to their little, I guess, town, if you want to call it. So they renamed the Seattle Police Department to the Seattle People's Department. So anyways, Friday they tried to take down all of the barricades, but they just couldn't. They were met with too many people who decided to lay down and not move. So they pulled back and decided to do it on Monday, which was yesterday. Yesterday, that did not happen. Another kid was killed. So the first person who was killed was June 20th, 2020, in the Chaz Chop Zone, and it was a 33-year-old male. And then another person along with him was injured, and I'm not sure if they were in critical condition. However, there was 6 shootings total, including the 2 that happened yesterday. So yesterday, Chaz Chop did not get dismantled. They decided to hold off again because it's just a little bit too hostile right now. So I personally do not live in the city. I live in the suburbs. Very safe here, and there's no, I mean, there's crime, but I mean, it's really petty stuff. Anyways, I am not going to the Seattle area right now, but I probably will in a few days so that you guys can see the update on what is happening with the Chaz Chop Zone. So far, it's probably exactly like you saw it on Sunday when I had the live feed, and there's not much that has happened. The mayor has backed down and basically said it's too hostile right now and we don't want to cause any more hostility in that area. So the area where the kid was murdered yesterday is they did get one little rope around where the SUV was that had a whole bunch of bullet holes in it. But the police chief, Carmen Best, who, by the way, is a black female, has been basically stepped on this entire time and has been I want to say smacked around by the mayor because she's literally stopped Carmen Bess from doing anything. Yes, we do need to do that. She has stopped Carmen from doing her job, basically, which totally just absolutely blows my mind because the Seattle mayor is very, very pro BLM. And Carmen Best, who is the police chief, kind of sees things for how they are, which is like, you know, my whole police department can't even go into work or into their building because these people have vandalized it and taken over, and you're letting them, and she has really no say because the mayor is above her, and basically Carmen has to do what she says. On a note of mayors, are the Olympia mayor here in Washington is very pro BLM as well. I mean, she has a big sign in her window that says BLM. However, her house got vandalized yesterday, I believe, and someone went up to her house and spray painted BLM everywhere, all in the front of her house, and she all of a sudden called it domestic terrorism, which was a huge LOL because she was so pro BLM until that happened. So take that for what you will. Now the word on the street here in the Seattle area and in Washington area is that the leaders of the Chaz Chop Zone got paid off by the tune of $20 million by the city. And that money was taken from the police department. And it looked to be like 5% of the police department budget was taken and set aside for a group of people. I'm not exactly sure of the wording. However, you can look up their budgeting and you can see that approximately $20 million is missing from the police department funding budget. And it lines up with the same amount of time when Chaz Chop really got dismantled by the leaders. craziness, if you ask me. Just absolute madness that 20 mil would go to people who have caused complete and total havoc. So here in this area, there are lots of people who live here in this area, and they are extremely upset that they cannot go to work in the Seattle area, not because of coronavirus, but because of the situation that's going on in Chaz Chop Zone. I personally do not have a gun, but someone close to me does. So I am pro-gun. However, I'm pro-safe gun and pro-legal gun. Yeah, so there's a lot of really, really upset here. There have been pleas for residents and businesses asking patriots that live around this area to please gather up and please help us to get our homes and our businesses back in the Seattle area because they cannot work. And there have been posts that I've seen on Facebook on the community pages where people they have no more money. Their PTO has run out. They have nothing left at work. They don't own a business. They work for somebody who cannot open their business because of the Chaz Chop Zone. So they're hurting. People here are hurting, and it's not good. I feel like the mayor just doesn't care, and it's a really, really crappy situation. Anyways, as far as I know, the Chaz Chop Zone is still up and it's still going, and those few people who are still there are there, and they haven't moved. I wanted to comment on some of the questions that were in the video that I had posted 2 days ago, and one of them had asked about the security there. Like I said, there was only security in 2 places that we noticed, and that was by the Seattle Police Department and that barricade that was over there. The other 4 barricades the other roads that had barricades on it, which I think were 4 different roads, had no security whatsoever, or nobody standing there besides tourists taking pictures. And then there were security people near the gardens, which was strange. And then there was a mix of just hostile people in those 2 areas. I also wanted to say that the gardens that were there, it was weird because I guess they expected to live off of that, but those gardens were small. Really small. And for how many people that they had there, it kind of blew my mind that they expected to live off the small amount of food that was provided by those gardens. And I know that there has been word around that the gardens did not look well taken care of, and they didn't look healthy. And some of them looked like they were dying. And honestly, to me, they looked fine. They looked well taken care of, and the plants and vegetables all looked very healthy. However, the sustainability of them being freshly planted in the soil, who knows? They probably wouldn't last because they wouldn't be properly taken care of. And I don't know. Just my personal opinion, I am very for protesting. You should do it. It does make a change, even a small change sometimes, just to get people to open their eyes to understand what's happening. I have myself participated in a protest years ago, and it was very peaceful. The Nursins, I don't know if you guys have remember those, but it's when the women were getting basically thrown out of a store for nursing their baby in public. because their baby was hungry. So women around the nation went and sat in front of that store in all different cities and towns and basically breastfed their child right in front of the store. So I had participated in one of those. Now that's not nearly as serious as the protests that have been going on lately. And I mean, I borderline want to call them protests because most of them have turned quite violent and have turned into riots and looting and all kinds of things. The Chaz Chop Zone in Seattle had many reports of people being extorted, businesses, residents being extorted for money and in exchange for protection. There has been reports of rape there. There have been reports of robbing. Obviously, there have been reports of shootings with 2 people dying. I would not consider that a protest. I mean, I would consider that dangerous, and I would consider that having the opposite effect on the situation that they would want to have. So far, yeah, Chaz Chop hasn't moved. Yeah, it's not a peaceful protest when you destroy others' property. Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's there's a major difference between Martin Luther King type protesting and this type of situation and protesting like they're doing now. Now, I've heard stories on both sides. I have actually lost a couple of Black American friends because of my stance, I guess, on this. And I mean, part of it is I'm seeing it right in front of my face. They've come to, when all of this started, they came to all of these towns around here, breaking into stores, looting, breaking into people's homes, and people were scared to go out. There were curfews set by the city saying that we should not leave our homes during a certain time, and that businesses should probably shut down in order to be safe. I mean, like, that's how serious it was around here. This is not something that I think Martin Luther King would be proud of at all. It's just a very unsafe environment, and I don't even know how the winds are changing now. Who knows what's going to happen? But that's what's going on. Maybe this weekend, if I get a chance to go back into the city, I'll let you guys see what's going on there. As for right now, I work Monday through Friday, and so does my husband, so we're not able to go Monday through Friday. And for the most part, the traffic has basically picked up here, and I mean, basically looks back to normal. So you get stuck in traffic quite a bit, even going into the city. When I was there on Saturday, though, and I was doing the live stream, we went to Pike's Place afterwards, just to like see what was going on. And half of the businesses at Pike's Place were closed, and a majority of the businesses near the Pike's Place area was just shut down. I mean, there was barely anything open. Starbucks was open, but I mean, barely any places were open at all. And it was really, really sad to see, because Seattle is very up and coming and popular and beautiful, absolutely beautiful to go visit. And the people are usually very friendly and nice, but there was hardly any people, and it was empty and sad. It was very, very sad. Now that from Pike's Place to the Chaz Chop Zone was about a 5-minute drive, so not very long, but there was a huge amount of distance between the two, to where I don't think Pike's Place area would be affected. However, I would think that just a lot of businesses down there, from what I hear, are just trying to stay closed because it's just chaos. No one knows what's going to happen, and the mayor is a joke. She's just a joke. But for the other questions in regards to if I plan on doing more videos, yes, I do, and not all of them will be politically based. I feel like some people who are not here and cannot see what's going on are probably curious, and so I wanted to let you guys know. Yes, I will be making RV related videos slash other types of videos in the near future. So here's a look at my plants that we have here. So these guys, most of them are all thankfully here due to coronavirus. So we used plants and gardening and that type of thing as a type of therapy. So we now have an abundance. But yes, that is the update on the Chaz Chop Zone. Thanks for watching, guys. And for my regular viewers, I will make you an RV video soon, I promise. All right. Bye, guys.